After menopause, your blood pressure can look perfectly normal in the afternoon, but quietly rise in the morning when your heart and blood vessels are under more strain. That is what makes this so confusing. Many women are not ignoring their health. They are measuring at home, taking their pills, trying to eat better, and still the numbers do not make sense. And sometimes the mistake is not obvious. It is not always stress. It is not always salt. It is not always age. Sometimes it is one small daily habit, one medicine from the pharmacy shelf, or one measurement mistake that keeps repeating until it becomes part of the pattern. Hello, I'm Dr. Claire Bennett. Today, I want to walk you through 7 blood pressure mistakes women often make after menopause. I am not sharing these to frighten you, and I am certainly not saying every woman will have the same problem. I want to help you understand what may be happening behind the number, because blood pressure after menopause is not just a number on a screen. It is connected to your arteries, your kidneys, your sleep, your waistline, your medications, your pain level, your stress, your food choices, and even the way you sit when you press the start button on the monitor. Please remember that this is general health education, not a personal diagnosis. Do not stop, start, or change medication without speaking with your own doctor or pharmacist, but do listen carefully, especially when we reach mistake number 6, because that one is often missed, even by women who are trying very hard to do everything right. Before we begin, if your blood pressure has become more confusing after menopause, stay with me until mistake number 6. That is the one many women miss because it may not look like a blood pressure problem at all. And if this topic feels familiar, write the word pattern in the comments. Not your blood pressure number, just the word pattern, because today we are learning how to stop chasing single readings and start understanding what your body is trying to show you. The first mistake is trusting how you feel more than the numbers. I hear this often from women after menopause. They say, "Doctor, I do not think my blood pressure is high. I feel fine." Or they say, "I know when it is high because I get a headache." That sounds reasonable at first, because with many health problems, the body gives a warning. If your knee hurts, you know something is happening in your knee. If your stomach burns, you know something is irritating your stomach. So it feels natural to believe high blood pressure should also announce itself clearly. But blood pressure often does not work that way. Many people can have blood pressure that is too high and still feel completely normal. They can cook dinner, drive to the grocery store, visit grandchildren, talk on the phone, fold laundry, and go through the whole day without feeling anything unusual. This is why high blood pressure is so easy to miss. It can be quiet, and quiet problems are often the ones people postpone. After menopause, this matters even more because the body changes in ways that can affect blood pressure gradually. Arteries tend to become stiffer with age. When arteries are younger and more flexible, they stretch more easily as blood moves through them. But when they become less flexible, the pressure inside them can rise, especially the top number. So if you see a reading like 146 over 78, the 146 is the systolic pressure, the pressure when the heart squeezes. The 78 is the diastolic pressure, the pressure when the heart relaxes. Many older women look at the bottom number and feel reassured because it still looks normal, but after 60, the top number often deserves close attention. This is where relying on symptoms can mislead you. You may not feel dizzy, you may not have a headache, you may not feel chest pain, you may feel like yourself and still have a blood pressure pattern that needs to be discussed. So the safer question is not, do I feel high blood pressure? The safer question is, what is my usual pattern? That word pattern is important. One reading does not tell the whole story. One clinic visit does not tell the whole story. One high number after rushing, worrying, or drinking coffee does not tell the whole story either. Blood pressure is more like weather than like a single photograph. One sunny afternoon does not tell you the whole season, and one stormy morning does not tell you the entire climate. You need repeated, properly measured numbers to understand what your body is doing, and that leads directly to the second mistake, because even a pattern can be misleading if the readings are not taken correctly. The second mistake is measuring blood pressure the wrong way at home. Home monitoring can be very helpful, especially for older adults, because it shows what happens outside the doctor's office, but it only helps if the measurement is done properly. If it is done poorly, it can create fear when the number looks higher than it really is, or it can create false comfort when the number looks better than it should. I have seen many small habits change the reading. A woman measures while sitting on the edge of the bed with her feet hanging. Another measures right after climbing the stairs. Another measures after coffee, after watching upsetting news, or after a stressful phone call. Some place the cuff over a sweater. Some use a cuff that is too small. Some use a wrist monitor while the wrist is resting down in the lap. Then they look at the number and say, "My blood pressure is all over the place." Sometimes the blood pressure is part of the problem, but sometimes the method is all over the place too. A better method is simple, but it does require a little patience. Use an upper arm cuff if you can. Make sure the cuff fits your arm. Sit in a chair with your back supported and both feet flat on the floor. Do not cross your legs. Rest quietly for at least 5 minutes. Put the cuff on bare skin, not over clothing. Support your arm at heart level. Do not talk while the machine is measuring. Do not scroll through your phone. Do not watch something stressful while the cuff is tightening. Take 2 readings about 1 minute apart and write both down. This may sound like a lot, but it is not about being perfect. It is about giving the number a fair chance to be accurate. Imagine Ruth, a 71-year-old woman who measures her blood pressure every morning after making coffee, feeding the cat, checking the news, and rushing around the kitchen. Her readings are often around 155/86, and naturally, she becomes worried. Then she changes 3 things. She empties her bladder first, measures before coffee, and sits quietly for 5 minutes with her arms supported. Her average moves closer to 139/78. That does not mean she should ignore it, but it gives her doctor a much more honest picture. Now imagine the opposite situation. Carol uses a wrist monitor, but her wrist rests down near her lap. Her home readings look normal, so she assumes everything is fine. Later, when she brings the monitor to the clinic, it does not match the office device well. She was being reassured by numbers that may not have been reliable. So the goal is not to measure more and more out of fear. The goal is to measure better, so the readings actually mean something. Once your technique improves, the next question is timing. That brings us to the third mistake, checking only when it is convenient. This mistake is easy to miss because it seems practical. A woman may check in the afternoon because that is when the house is quiet and she feels calm. Another checks only when she feels unwell. Another takes a few readings the night before a doctor's appointment so she has something to show. The problem is that blood pressure is not the same all day. For many people, blood pressure is higher in the morning. For others, it rises in the evening. Some people have acceptable readings in the clinic but higher readings at home. Some have decent daytime numbers, but poor nighttime or early morning patterns, especially when sleep is disrupted. After menopause, this becomes important because sleep often changes. Hot flashes, night sweats, waking at 3 in the morning, more snoring, more bathroom trips, and a mind that turns on and refuses to turn off can all affect how rested the body feels by morning. When sleep is broken, the heart and blood vessels may not get the same overnight recovery. The body may spend more time in a state of alertness, and by morning, a woman may already feel tired before the day begins. This is where many careful women get misled. They check their blood pressure in the afternoon when everything has settled and the number looks fine, so they assume the pattern is fine. But the morning may be telling a different story. Denise is 66 and usually checks at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Her readings are around 126/74, and at the clinic, the numbers also look acceptable, but she keeps waking with a heavy head and morning fatigue. Her doctor asks her to check morning and evening for 1 week. The afternoon numbers remain fine, but the morning average is closer to 149/83. That changes the discussion, not because she needs to panic, but because the important pattern was hiding at a time of day she never measured. So if your doctor asks you for home readings, do not guess the schedule. Ask when and how often. Many clinicians like to see morning and evening readings for several days, often before breakfast and before medication in the morning, unless you have been told otherwise, and again in the evening when the day has settled. Write the date, the time, 2 readings, and a short note if something unusual happened, such as poor sleep, pain, a salty restaurant meal, alcohol, a missed pill, a stressful argument, or a new cold medicine. Those notes are not excuses. They are clues. If you have ever checked your blood pressure at one time of day and received a very different number at another time, you are not alone. You can share in the comments whether your readings tend to be higher in the morning, afternoon, or evening. You do not need to share your exact numbers if you do not want to. Just sharing the time of day may help another woman realize she is not imagining the change. And once we start looking at clues, we naturally arrive at the 4th mistake. Thinking salt only means the salt shaker. Many women tell me, "I do not use salt, doctor. I took the salt shaker off the table years ago," and they are often telling the truth. They do not salt their eggs. They do not salt their tomatoes. They may use only a small pinch of sea salt when they cook. But for many people, most sodium does not come from the salt shaker. It comes from foods that were already prepared before they reach the plate. Bread, canned soup, deli meat, cheese, crackers, frozen meals, pickles, sauces, salad dressings, restaurant meals, seasoning blends, instant noodles, packaged rice mixes, and even some foods that look light or healthy can contain more sodium than people expect. A meal does not have to taste extremely salty to be high in sodium. A sandwich made with bread, deli turkey, cheese, mustard, and a pickle can add up quickly. A bowl of canned soup may look gentle and homemade, but the label may tell a very different story. In other words, the problem is not always what you sprinkle on food. It may be what was already inside the food before you bought it. This becomes more important with aging because some older adults become more salt sensitive. That means the same amount of sodium may raise blood pressure more than it did years ago. After menopause, this can feel especially frustrating. A woman may say, "But I have eaten this way for 40 years. That may be true, but the body at 70 is not the same as the body at 45. Arteries may be stiffer, kidney function may be different, sleep may be lighter, the waistline may have changed, medications may be different. A food pattern that once seemed harmless may now be part of a new blood pressure pattern. The answer is not to become afraid of food. Food should not become a punishment. The better approach is to look for hidden sodium calmly and practically. For 1 week, check the labels on the foods you eat most often. Not everything in the house, just the regular items. Your bread, soup, cereal, crackers, cheese, canned beans, salad dressing, frozen meals, and deli meat. Compare brands. You may discover that one soup has far less sodium than another. You may find that rinsing canned beans helps. You may find that a lower sodium broth tastes good when you add garlic, lemon, herbs, vinegar, pepper, onion, or salt-free seasoning. There is one caution here. Do not start using salt substitutes without asking your doctor or pharmacist if you have kidney disease or take medications that affect potassium. Some salt substitutes are high in potassium, and for certain people, that can be risky. This is why blood pressure advice should be practical, but also personal. Hidden sodium is one part of the picture, but after menopause, food is not the only thing that changes. Sleep, body composition, hormones, and the way blood vessels respond can change too. That leads us to the fifth mistake, treating menopause symptoms as if they are separate from heart health. Many women were taught to think of menopause mainly as hot flashes, night sweats, mood changes, and sleep trouble. Then they think of blood pressure as a completely separate issue, but the body does not divide these things into separate boxes. After menopause, changes in sleep, cholesterol patterns, blood sugar control, waist size, and blood vessel function can all become part of the heart health picture. This does not mean menopause is the only reason blood pressure rises. Age, family history, weight, kidney function, alcohol, activity level, and medication all matter. But menopause can still be an important chapter in the story. Sleep is one of the clearest examples. A woman may say, "I wake up 3 or 4 times a night," but that is just menopause. Or, "My husband says I snore now, but I suppose that is just aging." Or, "I wake up sweating, and then I cannot fall back asleep." Poor sleep is not just annoying. It can affect the stress system, appetite, blood sugar, daytime energy, and the ability to stay active. It can make walking feel harder the next day. It can make salty or sweet foods more tempting. It can make a person forget medication or rely on extra caffeine just to get through the day. Sleep apnea is another issue that deserves attention. Many people think of sleep apnea as a man's problem, but women can have it too, especially after menopause. And the signs are not always dramatic. Some women do not come in saying, "I stop breathing at night." They say, "I wake up tired." They say, "My mouth is dry in the morning." They say, "I get morning headaches." They say, "I need a nap even after being in bed all night." They say, "My blood pressure is worse in the morning." If you snore, wake up gasping, have witnessed pauses in breathing, or wake unrefreshed, do not dismiss it as just age. Bring it up with your doctor. Hot flashes and night sweats do not automatically mean heart disease, and I do not want you to hear it that way. But if they are frequent and disruptive, they can still matter because they disturb sleep and daily routines. A woman who sleeps poorly may drink more coffee, skip her walk, choose convenience foods, take more pain medicine because her arthritis feels worse, or forget her evening pill. So the issue is not one symptom by itself. It is the chain reaction around that symptom. This is why blood pressure care after menopause needs a wider lens. You are not only checking the number on the cuff, you are checking the conditions around the number. How are you sleeping? Has your waistline changed? Are you moving less because you are tired? Are you waking with headaches? Are you snoring more than before? Are you drinking more caffeine to push through the day? These questions may explain why the blood pressure monitor keeps telling a story you did not expect. Now we are at the mistake I most want you to remember. Mistake number 6 is ignoring medicines and supplements that can raise blood pressure. Please listen carefully here, because this is the mistake that can make a woman feel as if her blood pressure suddenly became worse for no reason, when the real cause may be sitting quietly in her medicine cabinet. This mistake is common because the item often does not feel like a real medicine. It may be a cold tablet, a sinus pill, a pain reliever, a sleep product, an herbal menopause supplement, a licorice product, an energy drink, a weight loss capsule, a natural powder, a gummy, a tea, or something recommended by a friend. A woman may say, "I have not changed anything," but when we go through the list carefully, we discover she added ibuprofen for knee pain, or a decongestant for a cold, or a supplement for hot flashes, or a new product for energy. That counts as a change. Some decongestants can tighten blood vessels. Some anti-inflammatory pain medicines can contribute to fluid retention or interfere with blood pressure control in certain people. Some herbal or stimulant products can raise blood pressure or interact with prescription medicines. Some products contain ingredients people do not recognize. And this is the key point. Natural does not always mean gentle, and over-the-counter does not mean safe for every person. This is especially important after menopause because many women are already taking several regular medicines. A blood pressure pill, a cholesterol medicine, something for reflux, something for arthritis, something for sleep, maybe calcium and vitamin D, maybe magnesium, maybe a bladder medicine, maybe hormone therapy, or a non-hormonal treatment for menopause symptoms. Then a cold comes, or back pain flares, or a friend recommends a supplement. Suddenly, the medication picture becomes crowded, and when the blood pressure rises, everyone blames age, stress, or salt. But sometimes the hidden trigger is the newest bottle. So when your blood pressure changes, do not only ask, "What did I eat?" Also ask, "What did I add?" That question can change the whole investigation. The safest practical step is to make a complete list once or twice a year. Do not list only prescriptions. List everything. Prescription medicines, over-the-counter pain relievers, cold and sinus products, sleep aids, vitamins, minerals, herbal products, menopause supplements, protein powders, energy products, gummies, drops, and teas used for health purposes. Then bring that list to your doctor or pharmacist and ask one direct question. Could anything here raise my blood pressure or interfere with my blood pressure medication? That one question can save months of confusion. And please hear this clearly. Do not stop your blood pressure medication because your readings improve. Often the readings improve because the medication is working. If you feel dizzy, weak, lightheaded, or your readings seem too low, call your healthcare professional. Do not quietly cut tablets in half unless you were told to do that. Do not skip doses to test yourself. Do not stop suddenly because a neighbor said she did. Your body deserves a safer plan than guesswork. If you use hormone therapy for menopause symptoms, treat that as a personal medical discussion. It is not a blood pressure treatment, and it should not be started, stopped, or changed because of a video. Your doctor needs to consider your age, time since menopause, symptoms, medical history, risks, and the type and route of therapy. After medicines and supplements, many women try to fix everything with lifestyle, and lifestyle can absolutely help. But that brings us to the 7th mistake, making lifestyle changes that are either too vague or too extreme. This mistake has two sides. The first side sounds harmless. A woman says, "I will eat better," or "I will exercise more," or "I will lose weight." These are good intentions, but they are not plans. What does eat better mean tomorrow morning? What does it mean when you are tired? What does it mean when your daughter brings takeout? What does it mean at a church lunch, a family birthday, or a holiday meal? A better goal is small and specific. I will measure my blood pressure before coffee for the next 7 mornings. I will walk for 10 minutes after lunch, 5 days this week if walking is safe for me. Or I will compare the sodium labels on my 2 favorite soups. I will replace deli meat at breakfast 3 days this week. I will add vegetables to lunch. I will keep my medication list in my purse. These goals do not sound dramatic, but they are easier to repeat. Blood pressure responds to repeated patterns, not heroic promises. The other side is going too extreme. Some women become frightened and try to change everything overnight. They remove so much salt that food becomes miserable. They drink large amounts of water without asking whether it is safe for their heart or kidneys. They start intense exercise after years of sitting. They skip meals to lose weight quickly. They take potassium supplements because they heard potassium is good for blood pressure. They use detox teas or diuretic products. Some even stop medications because they want to do everything naturally. This can be dangerous, especially for older adults who may be more sensitive to dehydration, dizziness, falls, kidney changes, and medication interactions. A safer plan is steady, not dramatic. If you have not exercised in a long time, start gently with a short walk, chair exercises, light strength work, or balance practice. If you have chest pain, severe shortness of breath, recent falls, severe arthritis, or a heart condition, ask your clinician what is safe before increasing activity. With food, think in patterns: more vegetables, fruit in reasonable portions, beans or lentils if they agree with your digestion, enough protein to protect muscle, more simple home-prepared meals, less processed food, less hidden sodium, and less alcohol if you drink. The goal is not perfection. The goal is to build a pattern your body can trust. I often tell patients, your blood pressure does not need a heroic weekend. It needs a steady Monday through Friday. That is true for many people. Small choices repeated calmly can be more powerful than extreme changes that last only a few days. If this video is helping you connect the dots, consider saving it or sharing it with another woman after menopause who keeps saying, "My blood pressure does not make sense anymore." Sometimes, one clear explanation can prevent months of worry, guessing, and unnecessary fear. So let's bring the 7 mistakes together in one simple thread. Do not rely on symptoms alone, because high blood pressure may be quiet. Measure correctly, because poor technique can mislead you. Measure at useful times, because one calm afternoon may hide a morning pattern. Look for hidden sodium, because the salt shaker is only part of the story. Connect menopause symptoms with heart health, because sleep and body changes can affect the number. Review medicines and supplements, because the trigger may be sitting in the cabinet. And make lifestyle changes that are specific and safe, because your body needs consistency more than drama. Once you see that thread, blood pressure becomes less mysterious. A high reading is not just a number, it may be a message. Maybe you measured too soon after coffee. Maybe you slept badly. Maybe you took a sinus medicine. Maybe dinner was much saltier than usual. Maybe pain is flaring. Maybe the cuff is too small. Maybe your medication needs review. Or maybe your pressure is truly rising and your doctor needs to know. The point is not to panic. The point is to stop guessing. There are times when blood pressure needs urgent attention. If your blood pressure is around 180, over 120, or higher, sit quietly and recheck after a few minutes. If it remains very high, contact a healthcare professional urgently. If a very high reading comes with chest pain, severe shortness of breath, weakness on one side, trouble speaking, sudden vision changes, confusion, severe back pain, or symptoms that feel like a stroke or heart attack, call emergency services. Do not drive yourself, and do not wait to see if it passes. For less urgent concerns, call your doctor if your readings are repeatedly above the target you were given, if you feel dizzy when standing, if you are falling, if your pulse is unusually low or high, or if you think your medicine is causing side effects. Good care is not fear. Good care is timely attention. Before we finish, I want you to remember something important. High blood pressure after menopause is not a personal failure. It does not mean you did something wrong. It means your body has entered a stage where old assumptions may need updating. The meal that used to be fine may now be too salty. The sleep problem you tolerated for years may now be affecting your mornings. The pain medicine that seemed harmless may now be part of the pattern. The cuff you bought years ago may no longer fit correctly. The reading that looked not too bad may be hiding a morning rise your doctor needs to see. So today, choose one action, not 7, just one. Check whether your cuff fits. Measure properly for 1 week. Read the sodium label on the foods you eat most often. Make a complete medicine and supplement list. Or ask your doctor whether your sleep symptoms could matter. One honest action, repeated, is better than 10 dramatic promises forgotten by Friday. Your heart does not need perfection. It needs a pattern you can trust. And after menopause, that pattern may tell the truth long before symptoms appear.